This broadcast will start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Voice of Stockton. For more information on The Voice of Stockton, go to thevoiceofstockton.org.
This is KBCC 89.5 FM, Tracy, California, Peace and Justice Network of San Joaquin.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS The Voice of Stockton or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another amazing episode of Women in Business here on The Voice of San Joaquin. And now, without further ado, allow me to introduce you to your host, Chef Tobias Cook.
Hello, 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 hello. The Voice of San Joaquin. Yes, formerly known as The Voice of Stockton. We are here today. Women in Business. Yes! I am so excited to have all these beautiful young ladies just surrounding me. Yes. And it is May, the month of May. What is the month of May?
Mother's Day.
Yes, Mother's Day. Yeah, but it's birthday season.
Oh, yes. Your birthday.
All right. I am your host here, Chef Tobias Cooks with The Voice of San Joaquin. Please log on to The Voice of San Joaquin on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, radio apps. Go ahead, click, share, and donate. Support your local public radio station. I am here coming to you live here in the studio, hosting my very first Women in Business panel discussion. Yay! We are here this morning, our roundtable discussion, to discuss a few topics here in Women in Business. So let's just go ahead and get started. Thank you, Edward. All right, let's get started. So, ladies, introduce yourself very quickly. We're going to go ahead and start with Kate.
My name is Kate Song. I run VibesUp here in Stockton. I'm also a kids instructor for New School Aikido.
All right.
I'm Theresa, Qadree. Realtor, is also a founder of Financial Solutions for Life.
Hi, I'm Michelle Baldeon, and I'm a founder of Lex and Found, Thrift and Vintage Clothing, and also vice president of Nuevo Joaquin, which is a new organization under the San Joaquin County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
And I am Shannon with For Humanities. I am the co-founder of For Humanities and the director of Survive and Thrive Cancer Recovery.
All right, thank you so much. When I put out the call and I said I was doing a Women in Business panel discussion, I am so happy that you all answered the call. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Give yourself an applause for that. Yes. So we have our topics here that we will be discussing. If you have any questions for us, please go ahead and type them in. I can see them and we can see if we can answer some of your questions. But thank you. We're going to be talking to our local business women here in the San Joaquin Valley. Okay, so our first question of discussion: culturally, leadership in the community. And the reason why I say that, because we are women in business. As women, we hold different titles. We're moms and aunties and godmamas and sisters and cooks and bakers and cleaners and janitors. Did I miss anything?
Nurses.
Taxi cabs.
Healers.
Yeah, we
yes.
Uber drivers for sure.
With no tips and listeners and all of that. But at the end of the day, we all wear the hat as business owner. But aside from that, as women, we also represent our cultures as well. And we also represent different spaces. So I wanted to talk about the culturally leadership in the community when it comes to women in business, and what does that look like? Michelle.
So first and foremost, for us here in Stockton, I'm a proud Latina, first generation Ecuadorian American.
I got a wand at home, right? I got 2 wands at home.
And I mentioned the last time I was here that Stockton is 42% Latinos, and we are very diverse. So being that I'm involved with the community and having my own business, it really for me, I seen the lack of cultural leadership, the lack of seeing women in color or the Latinas, and in anything, politics and real estate and anything else. And I felt like for us, it's important to put ourselves out there, you know, especially when I would attend, you know, markets with my business, Lex and Found. I seen that too. Like, you know, it wasn't a lot of other Latinos in business. However, now we have mercados, which is called like pop-ups that are for Latin vendors. So that's very important for not just for me, but for other Latinos. And I really want to represent that. You know, don't be afraid to get out there and get involved with the community and put yourself out there, because you're going to meet really important people. And then you realize too, like, what do I represent? Like I said, we are, I'm a woman, I'm a Latina, and I want to create a pathway, not just for myself, but for other Latinos and other businesses as a whole.
Oh, wow. So 42%.
Yes.
Wow, that is a large percentage.
And yesterday I attended Civic Mornings, and President Kathy Hart from Delta College was there, and she threw out a statistic that it's about 41% Latinos at Delta College.
Wow.
And how you think about that, and you think about leadership roles, you know, and you think about, do we have Latinos in leadership roles as much as we should, with us are being so high population, you know? So it's those numbers matter to me, and those are alarming statistics that I'm like, wow, you know? So like I said, I feel that's why in business and whatever we do, we have to represent ourselves, you know, as proud of who we are. Like I always say, I'm a proud Latina, you know, and being a Latina doesn't just define me. It's just who I am. It's in me. Everything I do, even from my business, you know, I have a hat that says feminista, you know, sold out, you know, and it's because they see it and they relate to that culture, that Latina culture, you know, and I love it. So.
All right. Does anyone else want to jump in on that conversation before we go to the next?
I'll jump in. I definitely agree. Don't have a whole lot of statistics, but what I will say, just on site, building women, and as far as culturally, and as we know, we define culture in many different ways, and not just, you know, a particular racial profile of it, but the culture of women in certain age groups and different beliefs. So I see it as far as culturally, men, women, is that being able to have an opportunity to voice where we are coming from and where we've come from. And that could be a culture of, you know, poverty, the culture of, you know, success. I mean, there's so many different types of cultures that could be defined, and looking at that as a unity to bring everyone together in some of the diverse cultures that we all come from is definitely key. And I totally agree with that.
Stockton is so diverse.
It is.
Yes.
And California is diverse, and real quick, not to take much time, as you mentioned, it's not just on your race.
Right.
Actually, I believe culture really starts from the home. We were just talking about how we drove by the houses we used to live in as little kids, and they were so small, and you can put 60 people in one house. And that culture has been lost amongst us, which also divides us. And that's why we don't rally up together and be able to express that culture as in our race, or the culture of our food, and let that be woven within the areas in which we live.
All right. And you're right. Culturally, there's so many different cultures. I don't want to butcher the name. LBT culture of women have also put a huge understanding on what that looks like now for women as well. But women in business, just before we move on from that subject culturally, I know we don't have any statistics. I should have pulled some up before I went into that. I'm learning. Yes. But do we see more of our women in our cultures going into business?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
I know for African American women, we are the leading in entrepreneurships right now. And that's definitely setting a wave for other women to come along in that board. Okay, so our next topic. This is a good one. Are you ready for this one? Women in business. Roundtable discussion. Building up a women around us. What does that look like in women in business? Go ahead, Theresa.
Women in business, I think women are the epitome of where everything grows from. As you mentioned, we wear many, many, many hats. And so with going into business, we have been looked at as people that are not supposed to be in business, but we're supposed to be the nurturer. And so with that, it's hard for people to separate that and accept and receive us as the wonderful women that we are, and the intelligence that we have, and the entrepreneur backgrounds and business education that we do have, and to lead. You know, sometimes in our own homes, we have led from behind because it was not accepted by the men.
Yes.
So we had to lead from behind. So getting out there, we had to break, and we continue to struggle to break that thought that they have on us. Not the stigma, but stereotype that they have on us as being just a mother in that area in the kitchen, cook and clean and take care of our needs. Not here.
But I made a living off of cooking and cleaning.
Yeah, pay me and I'm okay with that.
Yes. But what does that look like for us women helping one another, especially in business? What does that look like now?
I would say, as far as like what we're talking about, what it looks like and what it should be. I mean, we know as women that we have different attributes that we bring to the table. And one of the things, though, is that coming to the table is the first thing. We need to come to the table. You know, we can fix the table, let's set the table, all of that, but we need to come to the table. And sometimes we don't feel comfortable coming to the table, even building each other up, is because sometimes we will, some of us will still feel that our place is not at that table.
Yes.
It's just to set it. So as far as what I would say, as far as building women, and I'm big on that. I'll bring you in real quick to give you your shining stage in a second on my platform. But I think what it should look like is that we know where we come from. We know the difficulties of what we need to do to get there. So in order for us to get there, we need to come and rally around each other. And if your weak spot is technology, or if your weak spot is creativity, then okay, we need to fill in that blank, because we're nurturers and we know we can do that. And we understand each other. So I think as far as building women, we definitely need to identify what the weak points are. And then focus on that, just like, a SWOT analysis, as they would call it.
Well, I like that, Shannon. I wanted to add to it, because women, sometimes because we are powerful and we're lioness, we have this protection thing. Right. So we have to learn how to break that in ourselves to allow people to be able to come in and help us. Because one of the things my sister-in-law told me, Theresa, I am woman, hear me roar. I am woman on the floor. Yes. So we have to be able to come in and say, hey, I need help. Right. You have to be okay with saying I need help. But then at the same time, that person that's going to step in to help us would also need to be humble enough to know, fix my crown. Help me out. Don't beat me up because of what I don't know. Don't beat me up because you think you're better, smarter, quicker, and faster. You can't do that, because then it allows us to close up again.
Yes. I always say whoever has the better plan is the leader.
Right.
I mean, because look I get tired sometimes, and the truth for the reality is we all don't know everything. No. We're all good at what we're good at, but we all don't know everything. And the other thing that I wanted to say, like I said to you earlier, that as women and building up the women around us, we have to be clear that it's a reciprocal relationship.
Definitely.
That's I can't true. Just give and give and give. Right. If we enter into a relationship, or enter into a partnership, it has to be a reciprocal relationship as well. Go ahead, Kate.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, I feel like I agree with everybody here, and I feel that it's our job as women in business to build each other up, to support each other, to, step in, help each other, to provide the reciprocal relationship. One of the things that I love to do is build other people up and help. And I feel that that's my role.
Yes. And people shouldn't take advantage of that.
Yeah, because you have to have boundaries.
Exactly, because I know you're going to do it. I'm not going to let you do it all. I'm going to step in where I can fit. And most of all, I'm going to ask you to tell me what it is that you need from me.
Right.
And I also think the reason why I chose that is, well, building up women around you, because it builds our resources as well. Because I know when I started my bakery, I didn't really have a great resource connection at that time, and it really hindered me badly, because now I have a great resource connection, but at the time I really did not. So I think that us building up other women around us also builds our resources. Mentoring. What do you think about mentoring? And what do you see how mentor is going to take place with women, helping out women and women in business?
I think having mentors is very important. And for example, just to touch back a little bit on women supporting women, it goes back to mentorship. Yes. You know, I want to shout out Chef Nicole Tobias here because that is a prime example of somebody who is in a position who has a platform, and necessarily you don't have to be like, hey, come on my show. You know, but she did. When I first met her, I said, I am grateful for that day. And she that she said, you know what, they gave me a platform and I'm gonna give you a platform. And that's what stuck to me. And going into me finding being a co-founder and vice president of an organization, that's really what that I took that what Nicole said, and it was like, okay, now that Michelle is in a position to help startups, to help entrepreneurs, to uplift women in business who have been in a struggle maybe that I have been in, and I understand it, is how now that I have a platform, I'm gonna help business A and business B, you know. And it was like, you helped me because you invited me on your show, and a few people that saw that came to my page and asked about my business, you know. And then also too, it's like even now we're here sitting at a round table, and now I'm meeting you wonderful ladies who I know I can use as a partner for future endeavors. And now we're all connected who, like I said, for me, is like-minded individuals, and it's so important to collaborate because there's room for everybody to win, everybody to grow. And I always like that a saying, it's homegirls supporting homegirls, and that's really what it is.
Homegirls supporting homegirls, yes. I like that. Okay, moving right along. This is a good one. Yes, I'm excited about this one. Keeping up with technology. Shannon.
Yes, technology. Definitely, again, as you said, definitely thank you for inviting me here on this platform, and of course seeing all of you guys, and you too, my new fan. Yes. But yes, technology, as we were stating, if talking about a man's world, that's definitely where you see a lot of technology at, in the men, in that male dominated field. But technology to me is, I'm not like a tech person, but I have this wonderful friend named Coach Dave, and he teaches me all types of technology. Just this morning he has a tech talk, and we were looking at how you can utilize what's called StreamYard, and what you can use with you got so many. You got Facebook Live, you got Instagram, you have OBS, which is something that's like spaceship, like that. But you can do so much with it, and you can add a lot of different effects. You can do so many things to enhance your broadcast. And there's a lot of tools that are out there that are at either no cost or a small cost. And it's just learning and not being intimidated. But as we had said with women, it's just good in getting the questions, getting the answers, asking people to help you, and then being open to take that help too, as you said. So technology, yes. I love technology.
All right. Well, you all know that I did work for Google for almost 2 years. I worked there as a chef, and I took advantage of that opportunity. Again, I signed the confidentiality contract, so there are a lot of things I can't say. But the one thing I can say is that I took advantage of the fact that Google is the largest you want to call it spaceship, internet, or whatever it is that we have, a source that we have. When you tell people something they don't know, say Google it.
Yeah,
Google it. But in technology, the Silicon Valley area, there are a huge amount of women that have started technical business and are in technology. And I think when people think about technology, they think about social media. No, technology is artificial intelligence. It's AI. For women in business, for women in business, we need to understand how now do we use technology for our business. And I know for me as being a chef, you see me more, like I get paid more talking about food than actually making food, because I had to learn how to take my business and my platform and put it with technology. Anyone else want to chime in with that as well?
Well, with the social media, as far as business is concerned, it takes some of the old schoolers to go ahead and embrace, but it's here. We have to go ahead and embrace it and work with it. So I'm in that process, and I'm gonna reach out to you, Shannon. I'm in that process of trying to embrace that, and that's why I'm here too. You're using technology for your shows. That and in studying business, they said this was going to become it. You know, so our eyes on our cell phones is our commercials. So we have to go ahead and do that. I would also like to see not just in entrepreneurs, but there are women in technology, and those are because of the STEM programs and the opportunities that were given to them.
Like Girls Who Code, girls.
Exactly. And so here in the valley, yes, we need to bring that more here in the valley. It's much needed, and I believe this can be the bedroom community of Silicon Valley.
Just with technology too, I feel like as a business, I had attended an event, and there was he owned multiple businesses, very experienced, and he asked me something when I talked to him. He said, well, what would you like to do with your business? And, I said the same, and would like to grow. And maybe I said, potentially own a store one day. And he said, why do you want to do that? And I thought about it, right? And I'm like, okay, well, why do I want to own a store? He goes, why do you want to do that when you do everything you do online? So that too, also with technology, it's as a business, as a real estate agent, I know a lot of my other friends that are real estate agents now, they do virtual tours. They're on Instagram. Hey guys, I have this house for sale. Or I also went to a branding event thrown on by Univision, and they were talking about branding and marketing. They said that as a business, if you don't have a YouTube, you're already 5 years behind. And it's just the fact that, like you said, businesses are so accessible now. Boom, I can reach to you. Hey, like I said, you do cannolis? Oh, great. Like, let me do a YouTube video, or look at my cannolis. Nobody has to just
Chef
go
Tobias
to you.
YouTube.
So, exactly. And that's great because food people love that. You go right, and you go now, and what's that new thing people do, and they have millions of views? Mukbang, mukbang. Or
we did that with the cannoli. We have a cannoli mukbang.
So like even that, you go, and people that are posting these videos have millions of views, and once you hit 1 million views, you get paid. So it's like, can you imagine eating a bunch of food and getting paid to do it? And that's the power of technology.
I'll just eat the lettuce.
And like you said, you touched on AI, and then you touched on San Joaquin, the Central Valley becoming part of some of like the silicone. And it's getting like that.
We have Tesla. We have Tesla. We have Amazon.
And like you said, and Girls Who Code, like, eventually that's our future, so we want to put as much girls in there to code because it's needed in STEM fields. Women of color and Latinas, we represent 1% of that. Can you imagine? That's insane. So we have to get there.
But Shannon, go ahead, give them your information one more time about what you were talking about, Shipyard, I believe.
One of the things, as you was just saying, as far as technology, and I'm just listening, I'm like, because I got some stuff for that. The thing is that also we are in business, and we usually have a lot of things that we're doing. So we have to be able to utilize our time really well. So Chef Tobias cooks, of course, she knows I'm always live, and I'm using a lot of platforms. So one of the platforms, as I said, is StreamYard. I call it the Yard. But there's OBS. And Coach Dave and there's ways you can multicast and go all in one shot. You don't have to do one at a time. You want to be able to just do it and go on 8 different platforms.
Right. Give them your information.
And where you guys can find me at Shannon Griffin, or you can go to For Humanities. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, And YouTube for Humanities One. You can check me out there. And you can find us on Facebook, of course. But Shannon Griffin is my personal page. I do a lot of broadcasting there. You can come and check out and even come on the show, and I'll show you how to utilize it.
All right. And Michelle, give them your information for your store.
Hi, it's going to be Michelle at ifoundlux.com. You can email me. You can also go to my Instagram / ifoundlux, and visit my website, ifoundlux.com.
All right. So our next subject, I'm going to take that out and put it last so we can have more time for that. But the one right here, we touched up on this all through the conversation. Finding your voice in a male-dominated world with business. Kate?
I love this topic because as an Aikido instructor, I'm like one of the few female
teachers.
Explain
Aikido.
Okay,
first.
so Aikido is a non-aggressive self-defense art that originated in Japan.
Wow.
And I love it. I've been practicing since 2004. So as an Aikido instructor, I'm like one of the few women at our school. And so it's like I respect all the teachers, but it's like sometimes it's like you work with other guys and they're like too rough. So it's like you really have to speak up and say, hey, you're being too rough. Or, it's like, oh, hey, this is like how I want to do things. It's like, this is the way I was taught, and this is how I want to teach, and this is what I prefer to do. But it's like, it's really about finding your voice, but not like overstepping and like insulting someone, but you really have to use your voice. And this is where my training in Aikido comes in, is using your voice and, finding your way, like finding your identity. Even with VibesUp, the owner, Caitlin, she's had like a lot of people approach her for investing in her business, but she prefers not to have investors. So so it's like always,
and I understand that too, because that's why I do everything independently on my own, is because I want to be able to have control with that. And a lot of people don't really understand that. They don't get it, because some people say, oh, you're doing low budget stuff, your videos are low budget, you low budget. I'm like, yeah, but I own it, it's mine.
Exactly. Yeah, so I feel strongly that it's important that you use your voice, speak up for what you believe in, and as well as like edify others.
Yes,
it's important to have a balance.
I think that we are living in a really great time right now. I don't want to go into this too deeply because it can be an emotional subject, but we are on the third wave of our women rights explosion. I think that it came in with the whole Me Too movement, and women are having enough courage to speak up about what goes on and how we do have to sit silently and take things. But now we have women that are all over the world, just non-apologetic about it. Yes.
Nicole, that goes back to technology. Yes. Technology has allowed us to educate ourselves and empower ourselves to be able to have that voice and set those boundaries so we can step into a male dominance community, world, a society, and be able to do the things that we do. So technology is great because it's an educator. And I just want to put that out there, because finding your voice is very important when it comes to the male dominance. And we have also had learned to be able, we had to be in competition, and with that education we realized, wait a minute, we don't have to be in competition. We can be ourselves. We could find our voice, know who we are, and move forward from there.
I always say, because I'm in a very heavy male dominant space, and I'm also in a very space where there's no one that look like me either, where I'm at. And so when I do deal with that kind of pushback, I always say, who taught you how to cook? They say, my grandmother.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Look, I mean, your grandmother taught you how to cook.
Yes.
Really? Shannon, do you have anything to add to this?
Well, just like what we were saying, male-dominated world, and I agree, we're not here to compete. We're here to just have our voice, because there's different ears. So be it that it's different ears, then we take what skill sets we have and then we infuse that into the community or into our society. And then we let people know, well, this is the voice that we're coming from. This is the information. Now, we're not going to negate the fact that, yes, there's a lot of information that we do get from that male domination and we learn. But as women, we learn differently and we are able to disseminate that information out to different people, even to men that may not learn the same way as all other men do. So I think we definitely have a space, and with what I do is not necessarily I call tech, but it's like tech you need to know. That's all I call it.
Yes. And Michelle, do you see in your space with the fashion and now with moving into the Hispanic chamber about the male dominancy?
Yes, definitely. And even before I was part of the organizations, when I first started my business, one thing I did was I said I'm going to start attending a lot of local, small business meetings, and going out to the, Asian Chamber event. And a lot of the times, or going to Entrepreneur Lab, or going to, just a bunch of stuff that I would find, I would come back home and I would just be like, wow, like I was only one minority.
Welcome to my world.
I was the youngest one. I was maybe the two other females, but again, minority. So they probably come, you walk in and they kind of look at you like, one, she's young. Like, those events are normally older crowds. So I would always get the feeling of like, they're probably asking like, what's she doing here? Yeah. And, you feel a little out of place, like, but again, I still showed up because it was important, but it also allowed me to see it firsthand. Like I said, it is a male dominant world, no matter what you do, where we go. And seeing that, it just lights a fire under me more to be like, nope. You guys, like I said, you gave me a platform, and now I'm going to do the same and give other women a platform. And we got to come in here and, like you said, finding our voice, but not stepping on nobody's toes, but making sure, like, you know what? Yes. Not with me.
Yes. I also think with Kate, seeing Kate, okay, so look, Kate, you have to see her in her uniform. It is just like this little petite thing that is in this uniform, and she's standing in front of all of these young boys, and she's teaching them, like, it's like, go,
it's amazing. Girl. Yeah, like, yeah.
Get you a Bruce Lee outfit, girl. Yes. Go ahead, give them your information one more time.
Okay, so New School Aikido is located at 1267 North Country Club Boulevard on the corner of Country Club and Pershing. My classes, kids ages 8 and 9, are Monday, Wednesday at 4 o'clock. And then VibesUp is just around the corner from the radio station. We're located at 2051 Pacific Avenue. Come on by and you'll get a free solutions gift.
All right, so Theresa is in the real estate game. We all know the real estate game is male dominancy. Give them your information one more time.
My name is Theresa Qadree, and actually I do real estate, but I'm gonna give you information on my passion, which is financial solutions for life. I educate, promote, and encourage home and business ownership, entrepreneurship, and healthy, wealthy lifestyles.
How can they find you?
They could find me on info@FS for Life Now. That's F as in Frank, S as in Sam, the number 4 Life, LIFE, now.com.
All right. So for our last one, I saved that one. I saved it because I know we probably need a little bit more time for this one. Turn lemons into lemonade. Yes, yes. And that was way before Beyonce came out with her lemonade. Okay. So the basis of lemonade is not too sweet and it's not too sour. It is just right. Yes. So the reason why I chose that topic and because that's the theme of my story of how you start a business. You go through failures, you go through high successes, highs, and you go through your lows. And what I had to learn how to do is hold my head up, put my shoulders back, and keep going. When these lemons come to me, I could cut them open, I could squeeze them, I could put some ice on them, some sugar, some honey, and if you want to be dangerous, some strawberries. Yes. So I would love for each one of you to share your story of a time that you had to take your lemons and turn it into a nice tall drinking glass of lemonade. Go ahead, Kate, we'll start with you.
We had an incident at VibesUp where someone broke the window.
Oh, wow.
It was very disheartening. But so I had to get to the store at 6 a.m, which was not very fun. And so I was really sleepy. But the lemonade part about that was that right across the way from us is Charlie's Kung Fu. Mm-hmm. Above that, there's 2 people that live in the apartments, and they called our warehouse and told us that they saw everything. Mm-hmm. And so Caitlin, being the kind, generous person that she is, the owner of VibesUp, she said to have them come over and give them the VibesUp water bottle as a good neighbor trophy. Mm-hmm. So they came over and explored the store, and I got to meet them. And now it's I always know that the store's being looked over because these people care so much, and they called the police and everything. And it's really nice to know that we have, and we got really good support from the people around us too. Uh-huh. So that was really lemonade.
Yes. Right. Oh, also give them a shout out about your candle business as well, real quick.
Yeah. So I make candles myself that are made of soy and coconut oil, and I use essential oils in them, and they are at VibesUp. So you could come experience them. I have wild orange and peppermint, a scent called Goddess. That's that is chocolate, patchouli, and jasmine, and then rosemary and lavender.
All right, and we did a show on candle making, so I'll pull up that show that you and I did on candle making, and I'll replay it. All right, Theresa, how did you turn your lemons into lemonade?
Well, I'm not going to tell my age, but I do know that my life had seemed to be founded on a whole bunch of lemons.
Wait, let me stop you real quick on your age, because we both got birthdays coming up. So you are turning 30 for the 18th time. How about that?
She went there. But anyway, I'm not going to, because there's so many lemons that I've had. Yes. But my life right now is lemonade, because I'm living a life of wholeness. And so every experience I've taken, I used it to strengthen me, because we're never to avoid those situations that come into our life. I feel that we are strong enough, we don't know this, to go through them. So when we get to the other side, we have another, I got on my belt here, we have another notch on our belt here. And so, but right now I've never been so happy in my life. I'm married. I have 5 children. Yes. I have 7 grandchildren. And I'm just going to say my oldest is 36. And my youngest, I'm free now. He graduates from high school this year.
He's like, I'm living now.
We're going on vacations. Got several coming up. I'm always on vacation.
What you doing, Mom? I'm on vacation.
Right. And that is the ultimate story of lemons. Right. Taking your lemons and turning it to lemonade. All right, Michelle.
So just to touch on that, we all have a bunch of lemons.
And your makeup is beautiful, by
Thank
the way.
you so much. I think my moment to make lemonade was after I had my son. And like I said, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I really was, had a lot, of course, at my home, had time to think. And I come from a corporate America. I worked for AT&T for almost 5 years. And it was a moment where I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I just said, I don't want to go back to that. I wasn't happy. I was waking up every day like, I got to go to work. And at that moment, I pursued my passion. I loved fashion, distressing jeans, and just buying clothes. And I literally went for it. I was like, you know what? It was even more like, so the story could be so long, but the point is that at that moment I said, I'm going to start my business. And the moment I started my business, it's like I propelled, because too, I was going through the motions of becoming a new mom, and that, I didn't know what I was going to do. I also went back to school. I'm actually going to graduate this fall and be starting. Yeah, I'm finishing Delta College. Delta College. Yeah. I have one more class to go, taking it in the summer, and I'm scheduled to start Stanislaus State in the fall. Yeah, and it really was, like I said, that moment when I was like, I have my son, what do I want to do? And I'm tired of working for a corporate job, and I just knew that I wanted to go back to school, get my education. And in doing that, I remember saying this, I'm always, like I said, I keep my faith, and I was like, I'm going to let go and let God. I feel lost. This is it. Like, I'm going to do what I have to do. And ever since that moment, I've been having some some good lemonade. You know, times are hard. You know, there's ups and downs in your journey, but I feel like the moment that you're gonna know the moment that you're gonna get some lemons, and you're gonna like, what I gotta do, I gotta make some lemonade, really. And at that moment, I started my business, went back to school, and then like a year later now, like I said, I'm successful in my business. I started, I'm a vice president of an organization under the chamber. I never thought I'd be here, and I'm talking here under, you know, with you guys and meeting and making connections that I feel like if I never would have opened my business, none of this would have happened.
Yes.
You know?
Isn't that beautiful? Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, Shannon.
So, hey y'all. So one of the lemonades, but what you were saying about faith, and for some of you guys to know, in 2015 I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, and it was total shock for me because, you know, I don't drink or smoke. It's not in my family, so it's not genetic, anything like that. So it was it's cold here in November. So I'm sitting at the counter waiting, you know, I'm trying to do some graphics because I do t-shirts, and you know, I'm rubbing it. I'm like, ooh, it's cold in here. I'm about to get started. And as I just put my hand down, my thumb felt that lump. And initially, it was all sort of like when you're in that spotlight. And I became my own spotlight. And I sat there and I said, is that a lump? And I stopped and I felt it. And fortunately, God put it right. It was right here at the top. It's right at the top. So I was able to feel it, and it wasn't hidden. And I was like, that's cancer. And I, you know, called immediately. And I'm a kind of like damage control type person. I am, you know, by social worker, by profession, that's what I do. So I'm always dealing with problems. So I had to do damage control on myself. And I had to immediately, you know, strategically just get into place as far as what I was going to do, what was the next step. And so I did that, found out, went to the doctor, went through chemo. In January, went through radiation as well. So I did the whole full spectrum, because the triple negative part is that, you know, they don't know exactly where it is. So they have to just flood you, unfortunately, with a bunch of poisons, and then just hope to God that you make it through, because the treatment alone can kill you. Yes. We're not even talking about the cancer no more. They done pull that out. So the fact of the matter of being here, turning lemons into lemonade, and now I'm here to support other women and other people. So it's all about faith for sure, but it's all about perseverance at the same time, and having that determination to move forward. So that's my lemonade.
All right.
You know, the lemons, actually, those setbacks are for our comebacks.
Right.
Yeah, that is so
They
true.
They are. And that's just what it is, you know, and that's life.
Yes.
So when you have a setback, you know, don't be discouraged. Just know, hey, you got that comeback later.
Right.
Yeah, and then also too, it goes to, I always try to tell myself too, I'm not having a bad day, I'm having a bad moment.
Right.
Because you got to think about too, there's others that are going through hard times. Like for example, that's a hard time to go through, and I commend you, you know. And you know, so somebody may be having a day, and then you're like, oh, my life's over, and then it's like, no, there are other people battling. Find it.
Yes.
You're struggling. Everybody struggles. You know, you're not alone, and that's why I always say, embrace the struggle. We got to embrace it.
Yeah, for sure. And I believe that the lemons actually make you stronger. It helps you embrace the moment, and my Aikido training has helped me overcome a lot. So it's like, it's the mindset of like, okay, so, you know, this happened, but we got really lucky because nothing was taken, you know.
Right.
So Chef Tobias, lemons, a lot of people use lemons to cure bacteria.
Yes.
Well,
To clean it out.
Oh, that's
Exactly.
good. Yeah.
That's good.
Right?
Good
And
analogy.
so let's think about that. Those lemons are to cure, and those lemons are to cure us from something within us that is a bacteria, whether it be mentally, physically, or emotionally.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes, that's a good one, because we use lemons to clean our meat as well.
Right.
Clean your meat. Clean your meat. Wash your meat. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Right.
Wash your chicken.
Yeah.
Wash
Always.
it. Okay.
Right.
So anyway, I just had to say that. But also, just to wrap it up with the lemon segment. For me, my big moment is when I almost lost my daughter. She's 15. She's 14. She was 14 at the time. I was 15. And I couldn't be there for her. My baby was in ICU fighting for her life. And she was 2 hours away. They had to send her in the ambulance 2 hours away from us. And I could not get to her because I had a bakery. I had employees. I had customers. I had orders that were already paid for and people were expecting it. And I could not be there for my daughter. And when I did get to my daughter, the doctor was he was heaven sent. He actually stayed like 6 hours over to wait for me to get there to talk to me. But then I had to leave my daughter and come right. I had to drive back and open up my bakery and see about and take care of my other children. And so that was just really it was pain that I just cannot describe. That I'm here working, I'm on the phone talking to the nurse while my daughter's in surgery.
Yeah, and but
it was just the most I just cannot even even get that out. But the lemonade part of it is it gave me the opportunity. And she's doing better, by the way. She's back to her 15-year-old self. But the thing of that is taking me through that lemons force you to change. Right. Because you get this whole sour fruit. You cut it and you do all these different things with it. So much benefits that has this vitamin C and stuff. You turn it into this nice, beautiful, sweet drink. So now I'm here on a new platform, still talking about food, still talking about the things that I love. But I had to learn how to take one thing that didn't work for me and then turn it into something else that was. Yeah.
I want to commend you because as mothers, you know, we'll step in front of a car to save our children. And that was something very heavy that you had to go through right there. But then at the same time, you understood your responsibility to your customers as a business owner. There was some faith in that you knew that she would be taken care of while you did what you had to do. And that was very strong, and that's touching for me. And I would like for people to really take that in for a minute because, you know, you have to have faith. You have to have faith at one level.
Being in business, and that's why I was so passionate about doing this show, because women need to understand that we all have the same struggle. Every single lemon that each of us have held, we all will have to hold it at one another at a time. And what does that look like for a woman in business? And you really have to be a woman in business. You really do.
You have to show up. How do you show up? You want someone to see you as a business owner, you have to show up as a business owner. You want someone to understand your boundaries, you have to show up and show them where your boundaries are. You have to do that. Nobody else can do it for you.
All right. Girl, yes. All right, so any closing remarks? This has been a great show.
Thank you very much for having us and hosting us.
Oh, no problem. Yes, any closing remarks real quick before we get out of here?
I just want to say thank you for having me on and us on, and this has been awesome.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much. And this segment, this is great.
Yes. Thank you.
Same thing. Thank you, Chef Nicole Tobias. Thank you, Stockton, for listening and tuning in. And if you, like I said, the last time I was here, what's possible for me is possible for others. Follow your dreams, and you got to follow through.
All right.
And last, I'll just say, technology, women and men, use that technology to expand your brands and to be able to take what you're doing further. So I'll give you that.
All right, here, Chef Tobias Cooks here with the voice of San Joaquin, formerly known as the voice of Stockton. Yes, please log on to Facebook, YouTube, radio apps, the station itself. Support public radio station. I will be hosting one more Women in Business panel for next week. Thank you so much. I'll see you all coming back to the show. Please go ahead. I am going to tag them and include their business and information in there. Please support San Joaquin. You have something to do. See you next week.